Hey, what is going on? I'm Jevgeni Laur and I've been working in game development industry for over a decade. I've been working on projects like Rage 2, Division 2, Generation Zero, Crusader Kings 3 and many more. And you know what? I wanna share my experience. Because of that, I decided to do a consulting sessions. On those, I would provide feedback on your 3D models, any stage, from high poly till final presentation. I do though focus on characters. I will give rendering and presentation tips for your portfolio to make it look better and stronger. I will give advice on where to start, what type of studio to get a job in the beginning. I can talk about the process of hiring in large and small studios, cause there could be a difference. I can talk about frequently asked questions on the interview, because there could be a lot of those. I can help to prepare for an interview, help to prepare your resume, and arrange your LinkedIn account so it could be more attractive for recruitment. If you're interested, feel free to message me on Discord, from there we will arrange a call. Consultations could be on English and on Russian. From time to time, I will make a free feedback portfolio sessions. Join my Discord channel and put your portfolio link in the portfolio feedback channel. There will be announcement about the upcoming stream that you can join, where you can see my feedback. Also, stream will be recorded and uploaded to my YouTube channel, so you can rewatch it if you missed. Right now, the free feedback session will start, so enjoy. Alright, so the first victim will be Nick. So let's go here. So Nick is a 3D character artist, and he has some, well, as you would guess, characters, even a creature. That's really nice. Let me just check this thing here. Alright, so I'm gonna start feedbacking from right. So we're gonna go here. So, alright, so we have some kind of fantasy female, looks a bit like a Final Fantasy, actually, a Final Fantasy character, like Cloud or something. Alright, so the nice thing is that it's actually a full character and it's not only like a part of it, you know, like some people do only boost, which is, I mean, can work, but ideally it should be a full character, like this. So Nick did a great job here. He has a weapon, he has some renders of his AO and I guess bake at the same time. That's also nice. Alright, so let's start. I do like that it has the color theory here, you know, like the colors are matching each other and they are not super bright, not super dark, no super green color, like some people combine the green colors like really bright with reds and then blues, and I don't know, it just looks so kind of weird to look at. But here we have a really nice color theory. Alright, so one thing I see, the first is that the ankles and the knees actually doesn't have that much detail. It could be a bit modeled, because if we see it's a stylized character, but at the same time we do see some details here, which means that on the knees there could be a bit more like bones showing up, you know, just a little bit, you know, not too much. So this is the first thing, if you would like to work on at some point, or just keep in mind for the future. The other thing is that we have a weapon, and I think it's, yeah, the render is here. So let me take a screenshot of that, and let's go to Photoshop. Shoot. And I have a face there. Alright, so here, let's actually at the same time go to the character again. So if you look at the character and the shapes, you have a lot of shapes that are big enough. Those are actually matching, even though you see like those straps here. I would maybe make them a bit bigger, just a bit, and I will tell you how exactly big. Let's just take the red color, right, and maybe make them just a bit bigger like this, you know, because they're kind of like too small for a stylized weapon, I think. The other thing is that you can do is that you can see the flow, or is like a direction. The straps are almost like this. Sometimes you go here, which is nice. What I would do is I would maybe try to give more of that. So it could go here, could go here, then it will be that like this, then it will be here, then like that. So there will be like more of this going on. Like looks like a Chinese or Japanese symbol. So maybe something like that. They could be even more stretched like this, for example. So could be something like that. The other thing is that let's go back to character. You have some rounded shapes, as you can see here. At the same time, there are sharp edges also. On this blade, I think you could have actually made those edges here. Let's go back here and let's try to maybe something like this. So it could go like so it had some kind of bevel, I guess. Here it could be the same, because right now it just looks a bit too sharp, you know, like too low poly, I would say. I think this would be a bit better. This looks good from its design point, but from practical point, could it be that she could kind of cut herself with this at some point? Maybe this thing could be maybe here instead, for example. Let's see how it's gonna look like actually. Well, we don't need to then change the position of the blade, but maybe it could be better. I don't know, but just an idea. Okay, so let's go back to the blade again. We need to have this screenshot from here. Where's my Photoshop? Let's go back. All right. So when it comes to blade, I see some hard edges here. See, like it goes here, here, and here basically. So I guess that was the low poly, or something like that. So what I would do, I would actually try to make it a bit more smooth, because there is no point of making it like so low poly. So let's try to fix it here. Oh, too much. And maybe a bit here. Well, I guess you get the point. It's just a bit hard to draw today for me. Alright, so the other thing is that you see we have these symbols, which is pretty nice. But at the same time, when it comes to composition, I do see that there is a few spots that are pretty empty. So let's try to fix this, for example. Let's go here. Let me take a little bit of tea. Oh, that's nice. So what I would try to do here is change the composition of those runes. So this could be actually like here. This, I mean, if you have it here, then maybe we can make something like this, for example. So we see it's like we're trying to fill some space and gaps between, or else it just kind of look too empty, I would say. Maybe we can even do something inner, like inside, I guess. Maybe the same here. And then something inside, for example. So it could look a bit more interesting. But it's, I would say it's more like a personal preference, you know. Like this to this, you see? Now it kind of has meaning, I would say. It's like a full finished composition. So yeah. The other thing is that what I'm usually seeing that people that are doing, like when they do actually wear, let's take a bright color, you see here, like there is just this straight line here and also here. So what I would recommend is try to stay away from those kind of lines, because they don't look very, I would say, natural. So if I would fix this, I would just try to break the flow of that straightness, if you will. You see, now it's like more unique, more natural, more interesting. And for example, let's actually try to add something here, maybe. And take the same color. You see here, you also have a straight line, which is, I mean, it could be in real life, honestly. I noticed that a few times. And I was frustrated because apparently you can do that. But it doesn't look like that much artistic. So let's do the line here and then try to cut it. So like this, you see? Now it's more natural, more like a World of Warcraft style, I would say also. Alright, so that's the blade. Let's go back to the fun parts, which is the character itself. Alright, so let's check out this. So I told about the knees, that they could have a bit more detail on high poly, for example. So we have another thing, which is this like a chain belt. Let's actually also change the color of this whiteness. It's just too white for me. Now it's more natural. Now it's more comfortable, I would say. Alright, so we have this belt. Let's do a duplicate of that. The idea is interesting, that you have some chains, it has some knot, and it hangs, it has this flow. That's really nice. That's really nice. Ideally, what I would do here it's a really little thing. It's a very little thing. And you would say like I'm a crazy person, but I would try to, I can actually try to this thing. Or screw this, I'm just gonna draw it manually. I hope I would be able to do that. So I would rotate this a bit more, so it's not like super facing forward, I would say, like facing front too much. So, you know, it's just a little bit of rotation. Of course, it's the angle of the frame I do understand, but if it would be a bit more, like less straight, you know, less facing forward, it would be more interesting. It's just a little thing. I know I'm crazy, whatever. Alright, so let's copy this again. The other thing is that I do think that this build should kind of hang less as it is right now, then maybe more like this. You know, I wonder if I would be able to liquefy it. Right. So I have it on the other screen, sorry. Let's see. So what I mean is that it could have some weight, because it's a chain, chains are made of metal, and metal is, well, pretty heavy. Even like little chains, they also you can feel the weight of those. So maybe it could weight more like this. Will actually hang more like this, you know. So it has some weight going on, and also that's a bit like a more interesting shape of your character. Because here it's almost too straight, which is like less natural. I guess it still can be, as I always say, it can be, but if you want to do it more artistic, you could just try to add some flows. Alright, what else we have here? Because yeah, so we have here, so the hair is really interesting here. So you do have like this mix between like Final Fantasy, like, yeah, I guess Final Fantasy kind of an anime type, but at the same time you have realistic hair cards, which is interesting. Why not? Basically, why not? No, that's hard. One thing is bugging me only is that this area here. So let's take a screenshot and see how it can be improved. Hop. And let's copy that. So it doesn't want to copy anymore. I guess I've run out of copying. Alright, so if the flow of the hair goes like that, from what I understand, let's actually do it on a separate layer. So if it goes like that, then this area here, it would rather go like this. And sadly you have it more like just it goes like this and then somehow just starts like that. Well, not really natural. So this time is actually, I can't tell, not really natural, and like would be better maybe for the next time. The hair is actually really interesting to do, and the best advice I would say is to learn how to do hair like that is actually just look at the references, because, and maybe even let's actually go here, so let's go to Google and say hair style, whatever. Let's take an image. Let's do females. They have more interesting flow of the hair because they are longer. So if I would do a haircut, for example, let's go back here. First thing I would do is I would go to Photoshop and just try to draw lines and find out how do I actually put my cards. So first thing is like I try to think of what will be the flow. We can't just do it like randomly, you know, because every hair part could have its own direction, honestly, because also because of the haircut. So it goes here, here, and initial thing is that you need to work on this area more from the beginning, because this is the source of the hair. So how does it gonna grow? And then when you figure out that part, then you just work on any other basically after that. So that's like a little tip. I haven't done that much hairstyles myself, but when I do them, I try to go into details, I would say. Alright, so I think with this character will be enough. And you did a really great job. There could be something that you can work on, but I mean, we always learn, so it's really good that you do that. And you progress, because for example here I see the progression. So this guy is much actually cooler. You actually have some details here, which is really cool. I'll take a little bit of more tea. Alright. So I do see like this hair also. Let's give a little bit of feedback of that, because as I told about the direction of the hair. So let's go here. So you are almost close, but ideally you would have it grow like this. Like you are almost there to make it ideal. Yeah, so and then it will be more natural, I would say. But then that's a really cool character. You also have some kind of subsurface effect. Like from what I see, the ear is actually being translucent. That's really nice. So let's go even more. Yeah. Alright. This here, it feels like, I'm not sure if it's actually made for actually 3D printing, because I can see like those like these gaps between, like this is separated, like the neck area and the shoulder area. It's like they're separated. I wonder if it's a for 3D printing or is it like a stylistic choice, maybe? That's interesting back. Yeah, you have. There are some parts here. Alright, some. This looks a bit more wobbly, but even it's a creature, you know, you can do whatever. You can, I guess, you can kind of tweak anatomy, but you still wanna try to keep like original kind of feel of anatomy. Because if you change too much, it might look just kind of weird, and how does it actually work? So here, I guess it actually could work. Maybe a bit too much with these shapes here. They could be maybe a bit more straight, like here, for example. But hey, it's creatures. So we have also this views, right? Alright, so let's... I see one thing that we can also change a bit, or maybe just improve, I would say. So, since I'm doing usually a lot of clothing at my work, I see folds all over all day, every day. So when I look at any other character that I find on the internet, I usually think, oh my god, I see folds, again with the folds, it's all about folds. So basically we have these shorts which have some folds here and there. So what I would do here, usually first thing what I do is I think about the whole character. For example, if it has some silhouette shapes like this, kind of exaggerated a bit, you know, here, then maybe the other parts of the design should also have the same level of silhouette, basically. So for example, here you could add a bit more like shape to your folds, for example, you know. So it wouldn't be more like, it wouldn't be like this, it would be more like this, you know. So let's try to fix this here. So here when you bend, it actually should go like more like this. And then here we have almost a straight line. I would maybe do, since it's actually also have some torn areas, I would maybe break it apart, or like break the silhouette apart and then just do some like torn gaps. For example, here it's almost like this, you know. It could have been more like this. We could add some torn area here, maybe a bit of a hole, and like that, for example. So this, I don't know, but I feel like this will fit more of this anatomy part and the hair, basically. But I mean, still pretty good job. Here you have some folds. I would say they would better go here, and then you might have a little bit of here, but it depends also on the fabric thickness. If it's too thick, then it could be bigger folds. If it's too thin, and maybe it's also like very like stretching, then it could be even like this sometimes. Depends, as I say, depends always on the fabric. Alright. This, let's actually delete this, and this tree part, like a tree trunk, I guess, would also have a bit more silhouette. As you can see, it's the same thing, that it's almost straight, but what if we would add some like this kind of shape, for example. And it also could have, maybe this is actually too, damn it, I'm drawing on the same layer, basic mistake. Maybe it could have this, now like trees have this things like this, like popping out, so this would be like the silhouette of this. So it could have something like that, maybe even cracks for example. But hey, a pretty interesting character. Pretty interesting character. Here, like in this area, let's go back a bit. Or maybe it's just a view that here we see like this gap. Ideally, you wanna fill it like this, so it feels also like there is this composition. Like this composition is better when it's like compared to this one, for example. It feels like this feels more complete. This feels like it's just missing a piece. But also it could be that it's a view, like a problem. But hey, just something to maybe think about. Right, so we have another guy. This will be a dragon. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. I love how much detail you put actually into this. It might take you quite some time actually, but that's nice. I mean, usually I spend like 10 months on my characters, so I also take some time. I like the hair part, really interesting. I don't think I can even see that much that can be improved. Like maybe only like this could be too symmetrical. Like those horns, you could maybe tweak them a bit, maybe cut top part just a bit so it's not like exactly the same. Maybe rotate a bit more, just a tiny bit, like the same example as was with the chain, or just a little bit. So it gives it more like a natural look. But yeah, but really nice statue. So I see that right, you do have this skin that it's on this area and at the same time on this, maybe, and you don't have it actually here. So one thing I would do is maybe I would add like some of those scales, like scale parts, I guess, to the arm, and just like a little bit here and like one here, maybe one here, so it will kind of fit the design more. Plus those scales here, maybe they should have a different texture. So this one maybe will be, maybe even without actually, like it could be just solid, I would say. Maybe with some cracks or some kind of. Let me actually just try to draw it. What am I trying to explain by using words when I can just draw? I like to draw. Alright, so what I'm trying to say is that let's have a new layer. Oop. Okay, so those scales are fine, like those circles basically. They could actually be here like this, and then they end, and then here we can maybe add some skin, I don't know, pores or like skin wrinkles, I guess, and we would have less of this scales, or maybe even without, you know, like in this area. So you would feel like there is a transition between two kind of skin materials, I would say. So there is a variety going on. And with the arm, for example, if we have those scales here, we could maybe add them the same way here, for example. Like, what's the shape? So the shape is more like this, then maybe there could be something like this, for example, you know. So now it's kind of more connected and the design is kind of more unified, I would say. Because sometimes you can see that people do models, like for example characters in one part, like the legs and the arms are so different and they are not connected, and if you want to connect them to be having like this thing that they are within one design, just put some parts and copy them to each other and they will be like more, well, unified, I guess. But that's a pretty nice dragon. Pretty nice dragon. Like even I like the depth of field also effect is also nice. So we have another one, which is the way, as he called it. Alright, alright. We have some animation, somehow those special effects look like they're from... I saw something like that in Black Desert actually. There was some kind of creature. Like a mist, kind of black fog creature. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. So I like this. The lightning and... oh, here's some clothing that goes away. Why not? Pretty good, pretty good. Alright. So one thing I'm thinking is that you have these shapes here and they are almost, well, testing this is a bit too low poly, as you can see here. It just kinda goes down and then straight away goes to the right side. Ideally I would make a better transition, maybe like a rounded transition, so maybe like a couple of edges there. That would be better. And I actually never noticed, I would never notice that if you wouldn't do the close-up. So that's something that people also might need to think. If you're gonna do a close-up view, like a screenshot, you need to make sure you don't have that much edginess going on. So it should be smoother. So this part here, I would maybe try to extrude, so you would have, so again, let's go to Photoshop. So maybe you would have some, let's actually take a really annoying color, which will be green. So ideally you have it here, and then maybe this could go a bit, not like this actually, this could go a bit more up and then down, and then this will go here. So this might be more interesting, and it doesn't take that much poly count. And with this part here, it will be like here, and this here, and then that. You know, I think it will be better. It will be better. Alright, you have some katanas. Then ideally it would be cool if it would be leaking, like it has like blood drops going down. that would be fun. But maybe next time. Alright, so don't have that much to actually feedback the face, because I think it's actually pretty good. Pretty good. And then we have my favorite part when it comes to 3D models that is a low poly. So low poly are really interesting to do. I'm not sure if this is like a so it's a game ready character. Well, pretty much I do see like this. So it depends on poly count usually, because this at the same time it could have that much edge loops, because it will be, I guess, having some kind of cloth dynamics, so it would be able to morph and basically like wiggle here and there. So this will be fine. Here in this area you might have too much of those edge loops here, so it could have been, actually let's just take a screenshot. So for this piece here, the low poly could be, let's just trace it like this, but also, yeah, could be like actually this. So we want to try to follow ideally the flow of the skirt here. So this could be a low poly of this piece. Let's go a bit up. Here you have, so this edge loop here, like on this holster for katana, it's kind of useless. You don't need to do, you don't need to have that actually. It's not gonna be morphed anyhow. So whatever. This is a bit too much. This topology here, let me feedback a bit more. Let's try to do the topology by hand. So ideally, like you have some loops here, which is fine. You could actually have a bit more when you go here, and then in this area you would ideally should have this kind of topology. So this goes here. So here is actually correct, like this area, but this could be more like this, honestly. And you see, somehow in this area it just goes up in your case, but ideally it should be still go from left to right, from left to right. And then you can add some triangles to kind of trace your folds if you need. So ideally this is basically the flow. Alright. So close this, but but I would say pretty nice characters, I would say pretty nice job. You have all that it takes to be the best, so just continue improving. Alright, so let's take another person now, another, I would say, victim. Let me take some tea. Right, so we have Eduard. And Eduard is what I see, a freelancer. Alright. And he has some variety of stuff. So we have environments, it has like some renders of indoor apartments, for example, yeah, and cyberpunk, we have some props, we have a robot, we have a lot of things actually. So one thing that maybe would be interesting to know is that if you're aiming for a big studios are usually searching for a person who is more unique. So they usually ask, like, searches for example, character artists, and those people will be only doing characters at their work. Or if it's environment artist, then environments. So usually we don't switch because it's like a different pipelines, different, I would say, everything. So it will take a while for a person in a big studio to switch basically. But it still can be done, honestly. But usually you're just more focused. So they hire, big studios basically hire one person for a specific task. When it comes to indie studios, for example, they usually will be very happy to have a person who can do everything. So it's your choice. What do you want to do? What kind of type of studio you want to join. So we have some environments, we have some props here in the robot. So I would mainly focus trying to give some feedback on characters, because I'm more specialized in that, because environments are not kind of my thing, sadly. So let's maybe start with, this cyberpunk, for example. I actually managed to complete the game a couple days ago, which was fun. Alright. We have some attention to detail. I need to say that. Really cool that there are so many wires going on. Some naming on some parts. You have some drapery, which is also cool actually, because this piece is interesting because it has hard surface parts, it has some fabric, and it has some, is it like a wood? Oh yeah, it's a wood material. That's like a cool combination. I do think that this, as you can see here, as I told before on the blade feedback, that you have this wear of the wood on the edge, and it's kind of too perfect, I would say. Ideally, I would try to just not do this like a self-shading effect, when you just trace every edge. It looks a bit fake, I would say. It would be more interesting if you should just break that line apart, for example. I like the drapery actually here, which is really cool. The thing is that could be a bit different is, let's take a screenshot as always and go here to our best software, which is Photoshop. The one thing is bugging me that you have red color here on the cords, and then the red color of the fabric itself. So ideally, I would try to make one of those different. So the red color on cords or on the fabric could be a bit brighter or a bit darker. So let's try to maybe even like this, or actually, well, like this. And now it starts to kind of pop up more, because before it kind of blends with the chords, but now it's like, yo, check me out. I'm fabric, notice me. and we are noticing it. So that's little thing, as always, little things. I'm always gonna say little things, but they do matter to make your art better and better. So the other thing is that if it's a paint, for example, if I understand it correctly, just let's get a new layer, zoom in. I would do some areas that shows that it's not like a perfect print, you know. I would do some holes here, just break the silhouette of this perfect circle, so it's not perfect anymore. You see? And now I think it has some a little more details, and it has some, I would say, some story that it was there for a while. It's not like super new, but really interesting, actually. Very interesting model overall. Really nice job here. And when it comes to, for example, we have the low poly. I'm not sure if you would need to model all the chords, because I think, take a screenshot, because I think if I would be doing that, and it doesn't matter if it would be for myself or for a project, I would maybe just try to, so let's see, damn it, I need the best color ever, which is green. That will be very noticeable. Alright, so maybe I would actually just do this kind of topology here, you know, because like modeling all that may be too much. It always depends, of course, on the prop, because if you're gonna have some close-ups, then that's the case when you need to model all that. If it's not close-ups, then there is no point, honestly. So that can be the topology, for example, here. Well, I guess it's also always already like that. So something like this. And the other thing, that you have a lot of edge loops here that are not holding the silhouette, actually, because if you will remove those, this shape will not gonna change. So there is no point actually to have all that. And here, well, here, for example, if we would remove this edge, this will become this. But when we have this edge, this actually makes it more like this. Well, you kind of get the point. So that's why this is important. And this here, like all those guys, they're kind of useless, honestly. The other thing is that maybe I would try to, since it's not going to be animating, this all would be like kind of stitched together, like all those loops here. So if I would do like this basically, so you can double that, like decrease that basically. Alright, but you have it actually pretty, I would say, perfect here in some areas. Even though I'm not sure if this is actually also needed that much, and this one, because if you will delete, I'm not sure if it's actually creates silhouette on the other side, but at least this guy, like all those, this can also could be useless, but it depends on, of course, on the view angle. But anyway, pretty nice work, a lot of details, respect. So let's go to the other guy, which will be some kind of sci-fi robot. Alright, I like how there is also a color theory, like the basics, I would say, because it's like the purple and the yellow. It's nice. It always works. Like ideally for this guy, I guess. Yeah, so it's a full mobile game. I think it could be that it has too much of purple, in my opinion. Like I would maybe add some gray area, like gray color to design parts, like some here and there. Let's actually try to experiment a bit. Oh, let's delete all that. And let's copy this guy. Actually, we can do this. Hop, and then copy here. Damn it, why is it not? Okay. Now it works. So let's do this thing. Let's go here, hue and saturation, make it black and white basically. And now Ctrl E to invert. Actually, no, it's gonna invert everything. Well, anyways, I can just do this. So some parts I would maybe make more grayish. For example, this part is not super visible. It's like it's kind of under this huge sphere. And let's actually maybe make it darker. No. So that's what I would guess. That's what I would think would be more kind of badass, I would say. So here, maybe this. Yeah, I'm not sure, I'm just actually trying to experiment. It could end up not really good, but whatever, dude. Maybe these parts. Maybe that part there. What about this? And you see, it kind of creates a different look. Maybe like not the last changes, but I guess this I would still prefer. Like, it has some dark areas without that purplish color. But anyways, it's cool. Ooh, I do actually like that there are some stains of dirt and they are visible. You know, because usually people, what they do, they just put like a smart material and just put that to their model, and basically that's the end. They don't refine anything, they don't change anything, you know. Even it's just on roughness map, it will be just a bunch of noise. Here, for example, let's zoom in. You have some spots here that are really contrast. They actually like popping out, and they do have. They don't have roughness, so you can see like the difference between metal and the dirt. So this is what I am always aiming for to do all the time on my characters. And let's actually give some examples also. And a little bit of tea. So here we have a guy that I did, and you can already see some spots here. And as you can see, they also have this like a exaggerated roughness, so it's just popping out. The same thing goes for example, dirt here. It's not that much dirt all over the place actually, you know, but there are some particular spots where the dirt is like over exaggerated, and that will kind of give, maybe it's not super realistic as always, but it kind of gives you the feeling that this part is dirty. That's really nice to have and always to add. And also on my roughness map, on my diffuse maps, it's not that much noise going on, but it's still dirt, you know, and you still can see it and understand that it's there actually. So that's something to know, but that's really nice. That's really nice. The only thing is that you have here the same thing when it comes to like edges. The edge where is too perfect, I would say. You could also like kind of break it in some areas. Would be nice, but I mean. And oh, there is a low poly view. That's nice. Let's destroy. Alright, so we have some stuff here. Some bevels. I guess there is a bevel on that part, which, if it's a mobile game, I'm not sure if it's actually a bevel there, but if it is, I would remove that because it's mobile. You don't see that much on that little screen. But it could be that it's just a hard edge actually. And it's just like how normal map showing up. Like for example, this area here, you could reduce some loops here because since it's a hard surface, you can't bend if you need to bend some areas, then you need to have more loops. If you can't, then there is no point. So for example, since it's a hard surface character and this is the front area, which is his head, I don't think he will be able to bend it somehow, so there is no point actually for those edge loops here. So it could be like only one in the center, and then those two could be actually deleted. This area here, you could triangulate this more. So for example, I actually have Maya opened up just in case I thought it could be needed. So we have actually the same situation here. What a coincidence. Alright, so let's go and do target weld tool and go here, then we'll go center and do this. So we can minimize some of our triangles by just doing this kind of action. We could go even lower, and it's not gonna affect your silhouette that much, but it will reduce some tree count basically. So you see, here it could be the same, and it as you can see, like even the silhouette, it's kind of the same, but we did reduce a few. We could maybe even do it more actually. You see, it's less, but it's the same. But everything else is pretty good from what I see. At the same time, I can't see that much, but from what I see here from the front part, I think it's really good. Alright. And let's take this backpack, for example. I like backpacks actually. There was a time when I did a Division 2 fan art backpack, actually, back in 2018. Oh. Alright, so there are some references, that's nice. That's The Last of Us, I can see it right away. And you see like how in Last of Us, like every shape, it's not straight, you see like everything is kind of like squished here and there. Like even those parts here, they're kind of straight, but if you look closely, they're just breaking just a little bit, but it's there. That's a good reference to take actually from. So here, first thing what I see is that, so it's not for a mobile, I guess it's original sculpting, or maybe it was for some kind of project. So I wanted to tell that those straps would be a bit modeled, you know, like this one, just a little bit. If I would, for example, do an example. Let's go here. So if the topology is like that, and then you have a strap, then I would maybe model it like that, for example. So there is like some kind of like this ladder popping out, instead of just it being like this, basically, like this. It doesn't take that much actually polygons, but it will add some silhouette and kind of more like a depth and 3D effect to your 3D model basically. Alright, there's some stickers there, that's nice. Some seams. Alright. I do see that, I guess that's that kind of zipper thing. So usually with zippers, when you have that thing, and then there's this thing, and then you have, let me just draw it here, trying to memorize, like it goes like this, you have this, and then it goes like this. Right, so I see some people actually putting that like this. So ideally, it could be like that, I guess. But what I try to do all the time is actually I would like to show some gravity. So usually it will gonna fall like this. It's a little detail. And if I have, like for example, a bunch of those, For example, I have like 1, 2, 3, so I will do each other different. So one will be like this, the other one will be like this, and the third one would be actually, well, something in the middle or even like this. So there is a variety going on. It's a little thing, as always. Oof. But yeah, I do see that the faults, I'm not sure if it's actually, because I guess they were done manually, but ideally, since we now have Marvelous Designer, we could use actually that software, because it does take time actually to kind of adapt to that program, because it's not that easy. I mean, if you want to do a short, it's easy. If it's like a backpack, then yeah, it will take some time, but it's worth of your time, because it will give you like much more realistic faults, which is always better. So yeah, but we have some lights. I like how there's like some stuff going on. There's like this light, this thing here. Ideally, when you see this edge is kind of highlighted maybe too much, would be, as always, you can break that apart. This thing here, let's take a screenshot of this. This thing here, I'm not sure it's, yeah, on silhouette it's just a tube. So here, so when it comes to silhouette, it's just this basically, and then there's the backpack. So what you can do here actually is you could maybe add a bit more pieces showing up like this, just a little bit. So in the from modeling perspective, you would need to, like, I guess, do it like that. So it will basically give you a little more poly count, but it will look more interesting, and the silhouette will be more, like, I would say, we will add more variety. So that's something maybe to think about. But it also, as always, it depends on the poly count. But overall, pretty nice backpack. Alright, so I think I'm gonna do one more person, because it already takes me like 1 hour, and I would try to stay within 1 hour. Alright, so we have another person, which is Ivan, or Ivan, depends. And here we have a 3D artist. Okay, so we have another person who actually does characters, weapons, and environments. And I do think that from the thumbnails already, I can see that, let me go back here, I can see that the best work is actually characters, I think. So let's start with, well, this guy, Gundam. Well, yeah, damn it, this is actually pretty cool. This is actually pretty cool. Oh, the low poly. That's nice. This edge is useless, and that one. But, alright. But if it's not, well, it also, as I always say, it depends. If it's a game ready model, then they're useless. If it's just for fun, then we don't care, honestly. The other thing is that I usually tell to people when they present their low polys, they would ideally show only their low poly grid without diffuse maps, ambient occlusion maps, and any other maps, because it's kind of hard to see. Like here, for example, I can kind of understand that there's like some triangles going on here and there, but it will be much easier to see if it's just going to be a plain grid. Like here, for example, the grid is actually having hello. The grid is pretty bright, and then the color of diffuse is also bright, so it kind of merges with each other. So it's a bit hard to just tell how does it actually look like. I mean, the topology. But hey, alright. some more of that. I'm not sure that like if this loop is actually that much needed, but let's think that it's a game ready model, so then I can feedback like that. It's more fun, but that's a really nice character. A lot of shapes, a lot of details. I like that there is this kind of balance between shapes. Like if he decided that it should be edgy, then he actually adds edges everywhere. So I don't see that much of like round shapes, for example. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I don't think even I can model like this, you know, honestly. I am more into fabrics. Whatever. Pretty nice. Another robot. Why not? Let's check another guy. So this feels a bit more simple in a way, but maybe because of the render, because there is not that much going on in the background, which is actually pretty fine, honestly. I don't like to have like some kind of stuff on my background. Like I would actually remove some useless shadows here, because they are kind of creating this some kind of like error effect, I would say. The MIT is not that hot anymore. Damn it. Alright. The dirt is also pretty nice. You have some splatters going on here. And as you can see here, look at this edge. It's not ideal. It's actually breaking apart here and there. Let me just do one thing. Let's go here. Let's get rid of those guys. Alright. So it's almost there. It's like so close to what I would like to have actually. So I would just make some parts a bit bigger. Just a tiny bit bigger, you know. Yeah, maybe like this. Yeah, so it's not like this, it's not like this, but it's more like there is this variety going on. Well, something like that, you know. Oh, details. Alright, so and then yeah, here it traces, but not too much, but still enough to maybe adjust it a bit. Here it has some, let me just take a screenshot. We have this decal, and on decals, ideally what I would do here, and I'm always gonna say ideally, I will make this, come on, oh, it has actually green color, some kind of aberration. I would maybe make it more sharper, you know, like this. I mean, it will be easier to do actually in Substance. So it just breaks apart in a more sharper way, I would say. And you see here, it's a bit too soft. So let me basically maybe show it on example. So we have some kind of letter. And for example, this is what usually people do. They add some like grunge textures, and they actually have by having the brush be too soft. So ideally you would rather do it like this. Maybe like some kind of hole here, you know, because this, damn it, I need to switch too many things. This is better than this. But this is more realistic. Alright. Some stuff here. Alright. And this is actually also too much of tracing going on. And this is, so is this a loop? Is this for game dev, or is it for just presentation? Because I do think it's for presentation. It's too many loops that are not kinda holding anything, I would say. And I've been talking about before about the same thing. I guess it's like a sub-D version. Well, let's then it's okay. Then you're free to go. No feedback on topology then. So let's go to another character. I think this is, yeah, this is some kind of cyberpunk anime MMO character. Yeah. Well, looks pretty decent. It has some details, it has some fabric going on. There is some kind of pattern on the like legs here. Not sure how do you call those things in English actually. But yeah, there is a missive going on. That's cool. I wonder what is actually giving the light there, but I guess it's some kind of insight. Triangle there, but really cool. Really cool, really cool. So can I find something that I would change? Honestly, oh, the haircut. Well, that's cool. And as you can see here, like how it goes, it starts from here, so the source problem is already solved, and that's how like everything kind of like every step gathers together. So that's how you do it basically. That's the hair way. And then we have this great. All right. Oh, even her nails are having a missive. That's cool. Them, and they also have this gradient effect, so that's even cooler. Then I would like to do something like that myself at some point. Well, not with my nails, but then like a character at some point. I do see that this was actually sculpted by hand, and ideally, as I would always say and advise, just try to do it in Marvelous, and if you fail, then try to sculpt it by hand. Because it does look a bit kinda like wobbly, I would say. Alright. So this skin could actually have a bit more color variety, because if you look at any even at yourself in a mirror, you would be able to see that your skin has some color here and there. It's not just like plain color basically. But yeah, this looks interesting, because let's actually check the other view, because I wonder what is this. If this is like an implant that was built into the skin, then I would rather do, yeah, I guess it's here. Let's stop this. I would maybe do a little silhouette breakdown. So we have it here. Let's go here. So what I would do in this case, I would try to maybe do this area and dim it. Like my sensitivity of my pen is too high today, so it's unusual to do anything. So I would ideally like it to be more like this, rather than it's just kind of flat, I would say. Well, in this example it's over exaggerated, but you kind of get the idea. So it's actually built in, so you can think that maybe you can actually take it off, because here in the example it would be like a tattoo at the same time, even though we do see it. It's a 3D, like some kind of, not like 3D, but some kind of sci-fi part that is built in. But I would maybe add a bit more extrusion to it, just a little bit. But that's a good idea to have those actually. Alright, so we have katana, we have some this. Alright. Oh, the low poly stage. Well, here we go. Let's check this. So topology here is correct. Topology here was fine. On the legs, well, here I guess it could work. We do it a bit differently. For example, let me show you some stuff and show you my face. So for this area, your topology also can be more like this. Or actually, this will be the this will be, let me just show you, well, actually, and then you go like this, you know. So this actually will be the back part. The front part ideally should be almost the same, but more like this. So it doesn't go too much like this, it actually goes more like this for the stretching. I hope that makes sense. Alright. So the belts. So if it's a game ready character, I would actually sew those belts inside, because for a skinning stage, the more parts that are merged with each other, the easier skinning will be. And if you have too many parts that are separated, it will be a bit of a hassle to just make sure you can copy skinning to each strap, while you can actually have those straps built into your leg, so you only need to skin your leg, and you don't need to add additional skin to your straps, basically. So that's something maybe also to think about, because when I was doing my guy, like, let's actually go back here, and I'll show you, it was this guy. So with this character, I wanted to learn a bit more of skinning and special effects. So I did my own skeleton. I tried to do basic skinning, and let me show you the low poly. But my biggest mistake was that I did too many parts separately. So ideally, like, even those, I think those pants and those boots were separated from what I remember, and ideally I would like to keep them the same, as one mesh, as one piece, basically. Like those two straps here, like cloth pieces, I would also merge them, but back then I haven't, so that's why I gave up on skinning it myself. I just used Mixamo, put my model there, put some joints, and then I get some basic skinning, and then I just tweaked it here and there. But also keep in mind, try to merge your parts of the model. Alright. So here we have UVs. UVs are pretty good from what I see. I'm not sure if Ivan did some overlaps, because usually we do that like on gaming projects. But I'm not sure if you can actually, I mean, he could overlap, like, or maybe he, no, like those hard, like a metallic knee parts, they could be overlapped. Buckles could be overlapped, actually. For example, let's go back and see what else. It's easier to see without the grid. Do we have a full render? Yeah. So we could overlap those boots, or like, I guess, shoes, whatever you call those. Those shoulders can be overlapped, actually. Yeah. But everything else should be unique. Maybe nails, they could be overlapped. But yeah. But really nice character, really nice character. And let's go to this one. Alright, so we have another one, another female sci-fi admiral, or some kind of Alright, so I do see some marvelous. That's nice, that's marvelous, spectacular, like this. Alright. I do feel like textures, you have the details there nailed. Yeah, I would say. Yeah, and there is some elevation, as you can see here, which is really nice. Could be a bit more, just a bit more, but you can actually see like there is those parts that are actually built in, and they are inside. So there's like some elevation of the skin going up. So that's the best. That's like Cyberpunk basically does. Alright, I do think that the textures are a bit flat, you know, it's just, you have the design, the details, everything is there, but like, it just feels like it could be more variety, not like dirt, but it's just some kind of, how do I explain it? It's a bit actually hard without saying you need to add dirt, but you could add some dirt, just a little bit. And let's actually go back to any other character that I did before. So we have this, for example. So you see here, it's kind of green, but if you look closely, you can see some bit of, well, dirt and maybe like a memory faults, but there is some variety going on. That's why it looks more 3D, more interesting, more like artistic, I would say. The best reference that I would actually advise to look at is actually Metro Exodus models. That was mainly my inspiration. And we take, for example, characters, since we do characters. That's a face. Well, face is not what we need. We need this guy, for example. Because usually their characters have a lot of like color variety. It could be exaggerated, but it looks so cool. Let's actually, can I zoom in? Yeah. Let's actually look here. It also, of course, depends on the light. So the thing about this character is maybe the light is also kind of too basic. You could have added, for example, some like bluish tint on the right side, maybe a little bit of orange from the top. But here we can see some spots of stains going on. There's this variety of like this greenish color goes to like darker greenish at the same time. There is some yellow spots here, a bit like white spots, like this chunk of dirt. Yeah, I mean, look at this. This is just ridiculous. And it was done like how many years ago? 5 years ago. I think even more actually. But yeah, but their characters, their props, they are just insane. This is, as I told before, this is my main references for how to add kind of like a believable feeling to your character, clothing, or even props. Like if you look here, let's actually go to props. Like, take this for example, look at this. We have some cracks, like there's like one layer of metal going on, and now we have some cracks of the paint. And now here, it's the same layer, but it's different color. Here we have glass. It has some dust elements here. Even if you look closely, I guess it's like that area there inside. It has some spots of something brown. I don't know what is this. What is it? But cool. Cracks. Look at the scratches here and there. Like bolts, insides actually have some rust, but not outside. But it could be around a bit. So this is details, you know, this is the example. This is what I like here. It makes sense because rust actually starts on the, not like all over the place, but it starts on the edges, like here for example. That's nice. I wonder if actually those things were modeled, because they look like they're modeled. So that's some body count. Yeah, and in the game, it's just look at this. So you see how actually different it looks like from this, with this kind of lights. It's like a little bit of bluish tint, and then here is just white. And then in game, it has some like yellowish white, and then it looks so much different, especially with this emissive. Then this is the best. And coming back here, as you can see, after watching all of those detailed texture work, you can see like it lacks a bit of detail on textures basically, because the modeling is there, like the shapes are there, but it could be just kind of too flat. Like this area, for example, it could be having more synthetic effect, for example. Skin is pretty good, but it could have a bit more maybe shadows. Maybe like, actually let's do this thing. Let's just try to go here. What if I will just change the brightness and contrast? You see it now it looks more like juicy, I would say. So for example, and if I'll take a picture here, you see, so this is, let me just turn everything off. So this is more like an ArtStation thumbnail now, because usually people always like exaggerate colors. So do I actually. So if you wanna, so it's a little pro tip, I would say. If you wanna stand out more on ArtStation, you can try to like highlight your silhouette of your character and make it more brighter, you know. Just let me just take some examples. So for example, like, yeah, let's take this. So what usually I do, so you don't hear that on YouTube anymore. So we go here. So what I would do, if it's a thumbnail, I would make it darker a bit, then make it like this, and then I go and select this dodge tool, and then I highlight some without alt actually. I'm gonna highlight some areas like that. Maybe not too much, so there should be some kind of limit, so don't overdo it. So if it's like this, you know, it's just too much. But if we will highlight enough in some areas and maybe decrease the light enough in some areas, it will be standing out more. So as you can see here, if we will compare this to this, this is standing out much more than this, even though it's the same image. Is it a cheating? I'm not sure, because if you look at any McDonald's, for example, you go there, have this cool advertisement pictures of a really juicy burger, which is having exaggerated, oversaturated colors, and then when you get your order, it's so plain, it's so like flat. I'm like, dudes. So advertise yourself better, basically. So enough of basically me. But yeah, coming back to this character, I do feel like the only thing is I would work on is just texturing. Just try to make clothing more synthetic and maybe adding a bit more details, you know, and it will look better. But the character is already pretty nice, actually. Pretty nice. Yeah. The thing that I would recommend actually is, I'm not sure if was it rendered in, it's actually in Unreal, because Unreal has a lot of customization for your shaders. So I will make, maybe this year, maybe next year, a video about how to make a shader for your character for basically presentation purposes. And I hope I will add a synthetic options, so it will add like this, well, synthetic effect feeling to your model, and it will look so much cooler and more believable. But yeah, but very nice. The topology has, from the last time, it's very good. It's very nice. So good job, like from me for sure. So well, I guess I will end the stream for today. I was streaming for, like, giving feedback for an hour and a half, so there are a few people that are left, and I will cover all of those, but next time. So I'm gonna split those feedback sessions. So I will put the names of the people I'm gonna feedback next time on the channel, so you would be able to just know that it will be you that I will be judging. So basically, stay tuned and subscribe, and thank you for watching, and I hope that was helpful, and have fun. Peace. Subscribe for the new content, and feel free to join my Discord channel, where you can share your art and give ideas for the future videos. So thank you for watching.